Okay, good afternoon. Today is April 4th. Okay, give it up for April 4th. This is the voting session of the Ways and Means Committee. Okay, relax, not yet. This is the voting session of the Ways and Means Committee. And we are going to start with Senate Bill 114, and there are amendments. Delegate Feldmark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 114 repeals public notice requirements when a local government sets a real property tax rate that exceeds the constant yield rate. Instead, local governments are required to provide public notice of increases in the real property tax rate. The amendments require that property taxpayers be notified of increases in the real property tax rate and how increasing assessments affect the amount of taxes they owe. Move the amendments.
Any discussion on the amendments?
So I listened to what you just said, but it was a little bit, so what exactly, like, is there a template of what they're going to put in? Because we had this conversation a year or two ago, and a lot of people thought, because I do, it's unfair for the county commissioners to have to say we're raising your taxes, or the county executive or whoever, when they're not really raising their taxes, just the assessment went up. But we wanted to clarify that, so when you read it in plain English, they would say, hey, I may owe more taxes because the value of my property went up, or I may owe more taxes because they actually raised the rate. What's the language going to look like, or should it look like?
So it only specifies an increase if the jurisdiction is actually raising the tax rate, and then there's simply information included with the assessment notice and the property tax bill explaining how increasing assessments may increase the amount of taxes owed.
Okay. So when
But the special notice is only required for increasing the rate.
the rate.
Right.
Okay, so it's kind of different than constant yield. We're not telling them that you're maintaining the constant yield. We're just eliminating that. They only have to make the notification if they've actually done something affirmatively to raise the rate.
Right. I think the notion is that constant yield is generally not it's not a commonly used concept, so it really did more to confuse the issue. So we want to make it really clear when tax rates are being increased, and then also making sure people understand that even if the tax rate is not increased, the amount they owe may go up based on their assessment.
And that won't be in a special notice, but it'll just be in a packet of information provided to them. How?
With the assessment notice and the property tax bill.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Any further discussion on the amendments? Okay, all in favor of the amendments, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion on the bill as amended. Second? Any discussion on the bill as amended? Okay, all those in favor of Senate Bill 114 as amended signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Senate Bill 114 passes favorably as amended. Senate Bill 127, Delegate Ebersol.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 127 amends a reporting requirement from Chapter 577 of 2021. Makes it more workable within the currently established procedures for collecting student financial aid data. Rather than having each county board report to MLDS, that's Maryland Longitudinal Data System, on the student FOSFA, I'm not going to tell you what that is, data. The bill requires that I'm not going to tell you what that one is either, report on the data to MLDS, and then MLDS then report it to the General Assembly Education Committees each year. From 2023 to 2028, there are no amendments. I move the bill favorable.
Any discussion on the bill? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we do have Delegate Long is opposed. Delegate Miller? Okay. Senate Bill 127 passes favorably as amended. Senate Bill 300, and there are amendments. Delegate Plakovich-Carr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As amended, this bill moves the Baltimore City Young Readers Program and the Young Readers Matching Grant Program from the Division of Children and Youth of the Governor's Office of Crime Prevention, Youth, and Victim Services into the Maryland State Library Agency, and the annual appropriation for the matching grant program is increased from $250,000 to $350,000. So the amendments are just putting the bill in the same posture as the bill's crossfile that we already passed. Move the amendments.
Any discussion on the amendments? Delegate Henson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Was this a statewide program and now the tailoring of it will be for Baltimore City only?
There was both a statewide and a Baltimore City program, so the statewide matching grant program still exists and will have additional funding under the bill.
Thank you. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Any other discussion on the amendments? Okay, all in favor of the amendments, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the amendments pass. Motion on the bill is amended. Any discussion on the bill as amended? Okay, all in favor of Senate Bill 300 as amended, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Senate Bill 300 passes favorably as amended. Senate Bill 363, we are going to hold. Senate Bill 452, we're going to hold. Senate Bill 469, and there are amendments. Delegate Feldmark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As amended, Senate Bill 469 establishes a task force to study solar incentives. The amendments add members to the task force and expand the scope of the task force to include all solar incentives and the impact of the solar energy industry. Move the amendments.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of the amendments, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion on the bill is amended. Any discussion on the bill is amended? Okay, all in favor of Senate Bill 469 as amended, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Senate Bill 469 passes favorably as amended. Senate Bill 521, and there are amendments. Delegate Feldmark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 521 authorizes Charles County to grant a property tax credit for the principal residence of an emergency responder or the surviving spouse of an emergency responder. The amendment conforms the bill to House Bill 947 as it passed the House. The amendment changes the maximum income to be eligible for the credit from $250,000 to $150,000. Move the amendment.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of the amendments, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion on the bill is amended. Any discussion on 521 is amended? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Senate Bill 521 passes favorably as amended. Senate Bill 537, and there are amendments. Delegate Patterson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 537 alters the procedures for the renewal of a video lottery operation license. There are two amendments. The amendments generally conform the bill to House Bill 217, which passed the House earlier this session. And the amendments also include they specify a renewal term of 15 years and imposes a renewal fee for each 5-year period of that renewal term. In addition, the amendments distribute, beginning in fiscal year 2032, $300,000 of video lottery terminal proceeds to the video lottery facility in Prince George's County for marketing, advertising, and promotions that exclusively target out-of-state audiences. Move the amendments.
Is there a second? Okay, any discussion on the amendments? Okay, all in favor of the amendments, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, is there a motion on the bill as amended?
Move favorable.
Excuse me. Any discussion? Is a lot of seconds. Okay. Any discussion on the bill as amended? Yep,
Good.
Delegate
Thank
Buckle.
you. So if I understand correctly, Delegate Patterson or George, whoever, we've amended the bill to conform it to the bill that we passed, and then we've also included something that says that out of what everybody pays into the pot, we're going to direct $300,000 towards the MGM facility for marketing purposes.
marketing, advertising, promotions that exclusively target out-of-state audiences.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, we are going to do a roll call on the favorable. Roll call on the favorable. Madam Vice Chair.
Yes.
Delegate Ebersol. Yes. Delegate Patterson. Yes. Delegate Buckle. No. Delegate Charles. Yes. Delegate Hornberger. Delegate Wells. Yes. Delegate Fair. Yes. Delegate Long. No. Delegate Miller. Delegate Henson. Yes. Delegate Miracle North. Yes. Delegate Grossman. Delegate Vogel. Yes. Delegate Wu. Yes. Delegate Hartman. Yes. Delegate Griffith. No. Delegate Attar. Delegate Plakovich Carr. Yes. Delegate Barnes. Delegate Feldmark.
Yes.
Senate Bill 537 passes favorably as amended. Senate Bill 560, and there are amendments. Delegate Barnes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a cross-file from House Bill 626 that passed the House earlier, 98 to 30. It has one amendment. The amendment makes technical corrections. Move the amendments.
Any discussion on the amendments? Okay, all in favor of the amendments, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion on the bill is amended.
Move favorable.
Discussion? Okay, we're going to do a roll call on a favorable on Senate Bill 560 as amended. Madam Vice Chair.
Yes.
Delegate Ebersol. Yes. Delegate Patterson. Yes. Delegate Buckle. Yes. Delegate Charles. Yes. Delegate Hornberger. Yes. Delegate Wells. Yes. Delegate Fair. Yes. Delegate Long. No. Delegate Miller. Delegate Henson. Delegate Miracle North. Yes. Delegate Grossman. Delegate Vogel. Yes. Delegate Wu. Yes. Delegate Hartman. Delegate Griffith. Delegate Attar. Delegate Plakovich Carr. Yes. Delegate Barnes.
Yes.
Delegate Feldmark. Yes. The Senate Bill 560 passes favorably as amended. Senate Bill 660, and there are amendments. Delegate Barnes.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill is a cross-file to House Bill 707, which passed the House on 136 to 0. So the amendment is to conform the bill to House Bill 707. Move the amendment.
Any discussion on the amendments? Okay, all those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, the amendment's passed. Motion on the bill is amended.
Move favorable.
Any discussion on the bill as amended? Okay, all in favor of Senate Bill 660 as amended signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, House Bill 660 passes favorably as amended. Senate Bill 691, and there are amendments. Delegate Barnes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill imposes the state sales and use tax on specified home amenities, rentals, and authorizes the counties and municipalities to impose a home amenities rental tax. Has one amendment. The amendment delays the effective date of the bill. Move the amendment.
Any discussion on the amendments? Delegate Hornberger?
Does it cap the rate that counties and municipalities can charge?
Yeah.
And what is that?
The original bill, it varies by the counties. It's effectively half the rates of the current hotel taxes that they may impose.
Okay.
That's unchanged from the bill.
And county and municipality can
Yes.
piggyback?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of the amendments, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion on the bill is amended. Any discussion on the bill as amended? Okay, we're going to do a roll call on the bill as amended on a favorable. Madam Vice Chair.
Yes.
Delegate Ebersol. Delegate Patterson. Delegate Buckle. Delegate Charles. Delegate Hornberger. Delegate Wells. Delegate Fair. Delegate Long. Delegate Miller. Delegate Henson. Delegate Miracle North. Delegate Grossman. Delegate Vogel. Delegate Wu. Delegate Hartman. Delegate Griffith. Delegate Attar. Delegate Plakovich Carr. Delegate Barnes. Delegate Feldmark. Senate Bill 691 passes favorably. Senate Bill 783. Delegate Griffith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to use a hold of this bill, please.
Yes, sir. We're going to hold 783.
Thank you.
Thank you. Senate Bill 826, and there are amendments. Delegate Feldmark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 826 allows a homeowner who receives income only from Social Security, a pension, or an annuity to file a short certification instead of the regular application for the homeowner's property tax credit in 2 out of every 3 years. The amendments conform the bill to House Bill 897, its cross-file, which passed the House. They specify the contents of the certification and make clarifying changes. Move the amendments.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the amendment's passed. Motion on the bill is amended. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of Senate Bill 826 as amended signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Senate Bill 826 passes favorably as amended. Senate Bill 831, and there are amendments. Delegate Plakovich Carr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The bill alters the governance structure for 3 public libraries designated as regional resource centers and any future regional resource centers that are established. The governing structure shifts from a board of advisors to a governing board whose initial members are appointed by the Regional Advisory Council, which is newly renamed as the Board of Advisors. Membership of the governance board consists of a library trustee from each participating library system and up to 1 member from each area served by the participating library systems. The amendments simply alter the ratio of members of the public to the library trustees who serve on the governing board from 2 to 1. Move the amendments.
Any discussion? Delegate Hornberger.
What are the 3 jurisdictions?
The existing regional resource centers are the Eastern Shore, Southern Maryland, and Western Maryland. I don't believe your part of the state participates in one of these.
Right, okay, just clarifying, thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion on the bill is amended. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of Senate Bill 831 as amended signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Senate Bill 831 passes favorably as amended. Senate Bill 855. Delegate Feldmark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 855 is identical to House Bill 921 as it passed the House. The bill authorizes Baltimore City to use a judicial in rem foreclosure process for vacant or nuisance properties on which the taxes are in arrears. Move favorable.
Any discussion? Okay, one second, folks. We're going to do a quick roll call on a favorable for Senate Bill 855 on a favorable. Madam Vice Chair.
Yes.
Delegate Ebersol. Yes. Delegate Patterson. Yes. Delegate Buckle. Delegate Charles. Delegate Hornberger. Delegate Wells. Yes. Delegate Fair. Yes. Delegate Long. Delegate Miller. Delegate Henson. Delegate Miracle North. Yes. Delegate Grossman. Delegate Vogel. Yes. Delegate Wu. Yes. Delegate Hartman. Delegate Griffith. Delegate Attar. Delegate Plakovich Carr. Yes. Delegate Barnes. Yes. Delegate Feldmark. Yes. Senate Bill 855 passes as favorable. Senate Bill 865, Delegate Barnes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill is a cross-file from House Bill 346. Move the bill.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of Senate Bill 865 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Senate Bill 865 passes as favorable. House Bill 1064, and there are amendments. Delegate Barnes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill impose a state sales and use tax on specified home amenities. Did I read them?
It's the cross file.
Oh, it's the same one.
That we just moved.
So the amendment delays the effective date of the bill. Move the amendment.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The amendment's passed. Motion on the bill is amended.
Second.
Okay, we are going to do a roll call on a favorable of House Bill 1064 as it amended. Is there any discussion on the bill? Okay, Delegate Henson?
Inclusive of the hotel tax, or is it a sales and use tax for the amenity and then the hotel tax in addition to?
The taxes are going to cover different accommodations. So this is specifically home amenity rentals. Hotel taxes are entirely separate from that. And so you're not going to have an overlap. The similarity is that they're structured similarly, but it's not the same rental.
Are we talking like Airbnbs or things like that?
Airbnbs are already covered separately under sales tax. This is more like, in a similar way, instead of, say, renting the house to overnight in, to stay overnight in, instead you're going to say, rent like the pool in your backyard and allow somebody to use that instead. And so this would impose a sales and use tax on the rental of that space.
And do people get a permit, or how do we track that data?
People, I think, register through, so for instance, if people want to, and this is a thing, I just learned about this. If people want to rent out pools, there's an app called Swimly, and you can go on and kind of like Airbnbs, and then you just work it out with the owner. People can rent their backyards for parties or weddings. So this is a thing that's happening. Apparently.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion on the bill? That was on the bill, right? On the bill as amended. Okay, we are going to do a roll call on a favorable. Madam Vice Chair?
Yes.
Delegate Ebersol?
Yes.
Delegate Patterson? Delegate Buckle? Delegate Charles? Delegate Hornberger? Delegate Wells? Delegate Fair? Delegate Long? Delegate Miller? Delegate Henson? Delegate Miracle North? Delegate Grossman? Delegate Vogel? Delegate Wu? Delegate Hartman? Delegate Griffith? Delegate Attar? Delegate Klakovich-Carr? Delegate Barnes? Delegate Feldmark? Yes. House Bill 1064 passes favorably as amended. House Bill 115, and there are amendments. Delegate Plakovich-Carr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is identical to SB 831 that we just passed. It is the same amendment that we put on the House bill. Move the amendment.
Okay, any discussion on the amendments? Motion on the bill is amended.
Move favorable as amended.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of House Bill 1115 as amended, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, House Bill 1115 passes favorably as amended. Do not move. We have some concurrences. So we are going to move to concur on House Bill 78, which is the Public Schools Anaphylactic Food Allergies Guidelines. Is there a second? Second. Okay, the Senate amendment clarifies that the act does not require a public school to dispose of food purchased before 2023 that was labeled in accordance with the United States Food and Drug Administration policies in place at the time. Any discussion on the concurrence? All in favor of the concurrence signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the concurrence passes on House Bill 78. I move to concur on House Bill 292, childcare providers, licensing and registration exemptions. The Senate amendment clarifies that the entity exempt from regulation as a family childcare home or large family childcare home is a federally certified family childcare provider. With this amendment, the bill is brought in line with the Senate bill as amended by the House. Is there a second on the motion to concur? Any discussion? All in favor of the motion to concur signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The concurrence passes on House Bill 292. House Bill 402, Kent County Board of Education student member. This brings the bill in line with the Senate bill passed by the House. Is there a second on the motion to concur? Second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, any opposed? House Bill 402, concurrence passes. I move to concur on House Bill 471, the RISE program. Not to concur, my bad, sorry. I move to not to concur and to appoint conferencees. Those conferencees will be Delegate Plakovich Carr, Delegate Vogel, and Delegate Hartman. The motion is to not concur.
Second.
All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so those conferencees will be appointed. House Bill 768, the motion is to concur. This is the Western Maryland Economic Development. It's just a technical correction. All in favor of the motion to concur signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. And finally, House Bill 770, the motion is to not concur and to appoint a conferencees. The conferencees will be, this is a blueprint bill. The conferencees will be Delegate Ebersol, Delegate Wilkins, and Delegate Hornberger. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion to not concur signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so that motion to not concur has passed. We're going to vote again tomorrow. I'm not sure at what time, folks, so please listen up on the floor. And if you are not familiar with the conference committee and how that works, I'm happy to explain it. So just come and see me. But basically, you don't have to necessarily all sit down and meet like a conference, but we do need a certain amount of people to sign off on whatever is agreed to. There is a leader in the conference committee, and we expect you to do what the committee wants and not be persuaded by anybody in the Senate. Thank you very much. All right. All right. Thank you, folks. Bye. 2:30.